What's going on, everybody? We're back at it again with a Monster Hunter Wilds video. If you can't tell, I am super excited for this game to come out. In this video, we're going to be going over all of the confirmed monsters that we know of so far, what their names are going to be, as much as we can get. If there's not a name, I'm just going to talk about them. Not just the large monsters, but we're going to be covering the medium, small, and endemic life as well. They are going back to the way World was with the endemic life, a lot more focus, more detail, and than what they did in Rise and Sunbreak. So let's go ahead and hop into it, guys. Alright guys, so the first one we're going to be going over is the Doshaguma. It is a fanged beast wyvern, not wyvern, it's a fanged beast that is typically in packs, and you can either, we've seen in footage of it wanting to hunt either the large, not the large, but the apex one, which you have a distinct color difference in this one, as you can tell. So they are targeting the apex predator, which you're going to want to separate from the packs. From what it seems so far in footage, it looks like they're going to be the main cause of kind of destroying all of our pop-up camps. They're going to be the large monsters that kind of travel around more. They're very territorial. They're very aggressive. They're not always going to be in large packs, but they seem to be the one that's more consistently confirmed to be in large packs so far that we know of. Like I said, this is probably going to be the main cause of pop-up camps getting destroyed so far. Kind of give them bear vibes. It kind of looks like that's what they modeled it out of. All right, so the next one is the Balahara. It's a little sandworm, but it has the same concept as a Diablos. It mainly likes to be in the sand. It likes to create quicksand traps, as you're going to see here in a second, but there is a new confirmed wing drake called the Baunos. It's the exact same thing. You can use your slinger to pull out screamer pods, which I'm assuming is going to do the exact same process as using it on the Diablos. It'll just get them out of the ground. But the quicksand traps, it's not only effective on you, but also other large monsters, which could lead into like a little under cavern, which might be really bad. It could be good. It's just an attack that you're gonna have to worry about and potentially try to get out of. All right, so the next one is the Chotacabra. It is just a large amphibian that's main thing is spreading its sticky saliva to its surroundings. Also, its forelimbs to be able to attach minerals and power up its attacks. Ironically enough, its biggest strength, which is its tongue, able to spread around all the stickiness, it's also its biggest weakness. So there's something to keep an eye out for that. Alright, so right here is just a little gameplay footage of the Camatrice. It is a brute wyvern that's main habitat is the Wayward Plains. Its main thing is actually it spits out a flammable liquid that it can then ignite with its tail to, ignite it, of course. Kind of in the same swooping fashion of the, what's it called? The Glavenus. It seems to want to act more like an actual chicken. It'll tend to fight smaller monsters for food. Its actually favorite thing is decaying food. Alright, so for the Windward Plains apex creature, it is the Ray Dow. It is a flying wyvern that utilizes a lot of the electricity. I mean, during the lightning storms, but so it's mainly only going to be found during the inclemency of the Windward Plains, at least for the initial encounter is the only time we will see it. After that, it'll kind of pop up more rarely than anywhere else, but we'll still be able to find it. It really likes to do like a little zap cannon move, so it's gonna be a fun, interesting fight. There's a few more smaller monsters I'm gonna get to here in a second after I get done with the Scarlet Forest that are in the Windward Plains. It's just gonna be a lot of smaller monsters. There are majority confirmed, and just kind of explaining a few more of them. Alright, something I want to point out. So basically it hasn't been confirmed or on which ecosystem they're going to be in, or if they're just going to be flying around everywhere. But as you're going to see here in a couple of seconds, we're going to have a Rathalos come flying in. And typically with every single game that has the Rathalos, Rathian also appears. They're kind of a set little married couple situation. So that's one guaranteed monster with a huge possibility of another confirmed one coming in as well. All right, so here is the endemic life. There's only one that we have a name for. It's not these guys, even though they are extremely cute, kind of looking like lizards, but they kind of also look more like a meerkat axolotl. Like I said at the beginning of the video, they have put a lot more emphasis on endemic life. Like right here, this is what everyone was hoping was a puke, me included, but it's not. It is actually called an Amstrigian. And in this next clip, you can actually see it feeding its young like a mother bird, which is insanely cool. There you kind of have like some little blue crabs crawling around, and before you're actually curious or even asking, yes, you can catch them. As for, hopefully there's an area we can kind of not showcase, but have them kind of like roaming around and stuff, kind of like it did in World, where we can put them in our room. But as far as that, along with catching, hopefully there's going to be some rare endemic life that's not always going to be popular like it was in World, but hopefully this is going to be a whole new aspect. It's going to be something that you can focus on the little details if you have time, or if you're just a severe nerd like me when it comes to video games. I absolutely love that they finally put in some details for this. Another one is those little like compy looking dudes, and then the little birds that are actually sitting on the back of the Ceratognaths. The Ceratognath actually is one of the Windward Plains creatures. It looks like during the inclemency, the guy with the spines right there, he can actually get shocked by it, and it just absorbs kind of like a lightning rod. It's not going to affect him or anything. Something I'm actually really curious about is if a bird, the little birds on their back, is going to get affected by it. Maybe have some fried chicken, but who knows at this point. You don't really know if it's just going to fully absorb it, or we're going to have some KFC up in this. All right, so in this clip right here, you can actually see what I originally thought was Kestodon, but it's called a Belphidon. Right about here is when you can see another little video of the Belphidons, but the thing that's actually attacking them is called the Gyjos. It's a little crocodile you can actually use to kind of really painfully pull their tooth out and causing a bleed pod. You can just kind of find them all throughout the map. It's just a crocodile sitting in the water. It's not really much more to explain. There is footage on that in the gameplay footage for the planes we have seen. And those guys right there, the little raptor looking dudes, those are actually called Heliopters. So in some other footage we've right about here, it looks like you can lead a large monster to them and they're going to go in and attack them. But these are also they're mainly seen in the less flourished area, not area, but the part of the map before the inclemency begins. Kind of like they're starving, so they're going to want to help kind of eat as much as possible and taking some attacks in. All right, these little dudes are, so when they went to translate it, they weren't 100% positive if it was correct, but it's called Parika. They're basically like piranhas. If you lead a large monster around and it's weakened, they will attack it. But the thing is, it also does the same thing for you. So you're gonna have to keep an eye out, make sure to be wary of those little piranha little dudes. But hopefully we'll get a guaranteed translation here in the near future. All right, so this is the Lalabarina. It is one of the 3 confirmed monsters we have for the Scarlet Forest. It's based around a ballerina, of course, and a spider, but as you can tell right there, it does a little stinger attack that guarantees a paralysis for you. But here in a second, whenever you see it, as you can tell right there, it's going to start spitting out its little webs and stuff, which will increasingly gain you more paralysis, which you can see right here. They're going to start collecting it up a little bit. And if you look on the right here, it looks like they are starting to do more of a build-up meter where you can kind of see it, kind of just build up. And then whenever you do get fully paralyzed, it starts doing a countdown timer. I don't know if that's just going to be for paralysis, or if it's just going to be for like all debuffs and buffs, or if it's gonna, I did just figure out that they are going to be giving you a little countdown timer for whatever blights you have at the moment. What they're going to be doing it for, it's something cool. I think it's going to be added in. It's kind of going to give you more of a countdown time instead of just slightly destroying your controller, trying to get your character to wake up quicker. But so the more enraged, whenever the Lalabarina gets enraged, it's going to start spinning around and spreading out its webs more. So this monster is going to be very heavily paralysis based, which is extremely annoying. And something I want to point out really quickly is it shot like a little anger pod at someone. And if you've ever played World and went against Sloppy Jiva or the Behemoth crossover, and you saw that red line, so that's basically what's doing in that now. It's getting focused. Your character's getting focused, and the monster's gonna follow you wherever you're headed. Something cool and added to where you can lead the monster where you want to bring it to. All right, so right here we're actually gonna have the Lalabarina and the Deshagama do a turf war, which funny enough, you wouldn't expect it to be this way just because of the way it looks and that it has its own little territory area. But the Lalabarina and Deshagama seem to be relatively close in power because they can both damage each other in turf wars, and if you didn't know that's what that meant, well, now you do. And also, as you can tell right there, the Deshagama is paralyzed now as well. Like I said, the little Lalabarina is obsessed with paralysis. It's gonna be very fun to deal with this dude. So right there was another perfect example of kind of the meter building up and also then slowly ticking down with the paralysis and then the timer, which is, again, I think it's a cool concept and it's actually gonna be helpful for a bunch of people. But for the Lalabarina's webs, you can actually shoot them or potentially melee them if you want to get that close to break them, but at the same time I'm not sure how effective that's going to be since it seems to spread around a lot. Something else I did want to bring up, that in this fight you can tell that it's not really getting wounded as much. I don't know if it's just because of the way they're playing or the gameplay for this, but I don't know if this is confirmation for certain monsters are easier to wound than others. We're gonna have to just keep an eye out on that, and I will let y'all know whenever I get more further confirmation. All right, so right here they're actually going to lead us to where the Lalabarina's nest is actually going to be at, which in one of the trailers when it got introduced you could actually see this, the area where it would spin in the middle right there, which I'm not entirely sure if this is a full-on confirmation for every single monster has their own nest where they can do certain attacks that they couldn't before, where that is typically reserved for apex monsters. It's something I think is absolutely cool that they're kind of giving to a lot of other monsters to give more diversity and kind of like a last stand kind of moment, because there's a lot of moments where you think when you're in a last stand in like TV shows, animes, or anything like that, and that person gets a lot stronger. I feel like that's kind of where they are getting that ability from, kind of the last stand moment, which is beyond cool to me. I love this idea, and it's a great idea to kind of put in some more, how do I say this, more of a unique environment for specific monsters. In this gameplay area right here right now, it is going to be the apex of the Scarlet Forest, which is the Duna, which you would typically only find during the inclemency of it, which is the downpour. So the Duna actually it gets not more powerful, but it gets more protected by itself by using water and the bodily fluids inside itself to get a little protective veil. Something I wanted to point out real quick right here, as you could tell, so its main strength is using its big body and the downpour and using the water around it to create these waves that's going to stagger you and also causing a lot of other it's going to mess up your combos, mess up a lot of other stuff. Right about here, this is when you're going to see that protective veil come in. It's going to look like that little blue damage. As far as we know, is currently there's not any confirmation of a way for us to get around it. You're going to see them getting those damage numbers and colors a lot more throughout this fight, as you can tell. I don't know what percentage based or if it's like half damage or anything like that on the damage reduction, but just having that there is going to be really obnoxious until we find out a way around that. The second large monster we have confirmed for the Scarlet Forest, and it's actually the Congalala, which if you didn't know, it is one of the most popular demands, and that's why they put it in here. Funny enough, its main thing is it gets more powerful by the mushrooms it eats, and it's more so it can use basically any power, so depending on the mushroom that it eats. Like for instance, if it eats one of the little poison mushrooms, it's gonna have poison breath. Same thing with light and fire, from my understanding. Also, since it's in the game, we have its little brothers, as you can see they're jumping around right now on the left side. It's the Congus, but that's kind of to be expected if we have them in the game. If we have the Congalala in the game, they're also going to be in, let's be honest. It's just all together. So right here is actually typically when you can see that it's eating its mushroom and getting the poison breath, but that's not just that one mushroom. It can eat a lot of different mushrooms, getting different kind of breath. It also farts, if you didn't know. It's kind of something funny. So from what we've seen so far, it looks like it has the same attack patterns as it always has, but something that looks a little bit different, which you'll see here in a moment, is it looks like it might be able to steal mushrooms off of you, giving itself a power up from whatever mushroom it takes from you. I don't know if it's an animation that you have to have like the mushroom in your inventory, or if you're gonna have to have, or if it's just an animation to make it kind of look like it's just stealing it from you. But right here, you're gonna see another breath that it's gonna have, which is blast. Okay, so something kind of not fully out there, but that's a little bit hidden, is the Gajao. They're in a little area where we can't get them. Might be able to fish for them, but we can't at the moment see them in any other area, so it might be confirmed that they're going to be out there, or if it's something that they wanted to put out there to make it look like the fishies are swimming. So something that's a little funny to me is in the wood hideout, you can actually see one of the Woodwoods wearing pink fur, and also on top of pink fur, which if y'all didn't know, the Congalala is pink, so it might be hinting towards this specific Woodwood. Really happy that the Congalala is in there, which I don't know if it's just kind of a little joke that everyone's gonna be happy that it's back, or what exactly. And as for the final one that kind of looks like for the Woodwoods, it's going to be the Yancut Coos. Kind of doesn't look like we're going to be able to hunt them. It might be more of just like a little passive helping thing where every once in a while they'll come back, like the Argosy in World, where they come back, we can use them for materials. It's a little bit of stuff like that. Cool that they're back, but it's a little unfortunate that we may or may not be able to hunt them. All right, so for our flagship monster, which we have all been waiting for, is actually we're calling it, its nickname is the White Wraith, but it is the Arkveld. Basically, we don't fully actually know what species it is, because it's what we thought was a monster that was extinct. At the moment, I believe we are calling it a chain wyvern because of its chain-like appendages that it's using in fight, as you can tell against the Dow right here. Extremely cool to have. Since it's thought to be extinct, we don't really know much about it, and it's also the reason for Nala's tribe to get endangered, and that's what the reason we're out here for. An extremely cool looking dude. Kind of excited to see how this is going to be. Hopefully we'd be able to kind of like pop off its chains to kind of weaken it, kind of like what we would be able to do with a tail, but there's not too much more we can really know about it. All right, everyone, so that is all the as of this moment confirmed monsters and names that we have out at the moment. If there's anything that I missed or you want me to go over more, leave it down in the comment section. I will get to you. I'll get to it as quick as I can. But other than that, I hope y'all enjoy. Leave a comment, like, subscribe. It really does help me out. Other than that, guys, I hope you enjoy, and I hope you're excited as much as me. Peace out.
I have a dream, that's all I need. I'll make it happen with some work and belief. Know what I want, so I'll take it on. I've made mistakes, but